Okay, guys, I am live. So this is a topic that I wanted to really get into, but I think this gentleman really summed it up better than I possibly could, especially since he has expertise in this field. So I did say early of 2023 that I was getting a lot of energy around people leaving America. As a lot of people have seen that are keeping up, a lot of celebrities have now left America in droves, and these are high earners. These are people who make a lot of money. Just to clarify, people do not have to be rich to plan to leave America. They don't have to be a millionaire or even a high earner to leave America. All they have to have is their documents in order, passport, and work some kind of job. Doesn't have to be some savvy job, has to be any old regular job, just like in America. So I'm gonna go ahead and after I put the tags in the video, I'm gonna go ahead and just play this video. If you guys have not seen this video already, it's grossing over 400,000 views. This gentleman has, I think, summed it up perfectly. BRICS and put the tags in. So I noticed just before I played the video, I noticed a lot of people that should be happy about this Trump win or not. And a lot of Christmas decorations are not even up. Whereas, last year everybody was having their decorations up, everybody was happy, you know what I'm saying? And now that doesn't seem to be the case. So I was having a conversation. I was doing a business call with somebody earlier. And I don't know if they just felt what I was feeling, but they were pouring their heart out to me, and they were saying that, a lot is to come, a lot is going on, and we have to just basically take care of our mental health, take care of ourselves. Self-care is of the utmost importance, and he's 1,000% right. And so I let him know. I'm like, you know what? I've been letting people know in general that I don't think I'm going to be here long term in America. I don't see it happening because I've just got too many scary dreams and confirmation of what's to come. And this elder gentleman here, he really sums it up. Hold up. Really since 2016. I mean, I've been covering this from 2016, so I'm going to go ahead and play the video. I have to go clean. I'm going to just play it for you guys. And, you'll see me give my reaction every now and then, but I need to go and clean. So let me just put the tags up and show you guys this video because he basically sums it up. I think the video is 48 minutes. 48 minutes, but I think I was at like minute 22. Minute 22. So let me go ahead and pull this up for you guys. Because he summarized it perfectly. So, for those who don't know, I had and shit's gonna get real, guys. I put that dream that I had on TikTok. You guys haven't had privy to it yet, but if you follow me on TikTok, you would have seen it on TikTok. I told you guys on TikTok that I had a dream, a very detailed. And actually, I have had this before this year too. I had one in 2016. I never shared it. I had a dream about internment camps from 2016, and a couple of nights ago, I had another one with Trump in it. So, I know what's coming. And I'm actually making a list right now of things I have to do. I have to call the embassy. I have a lot of things I got to do as well, guys. So anyway, let me go ahead and show the video. Let's go ahead and pull this up because this is basically what's gonna happen, guys. So might as well watch. So if you guys haven't seen it, you're gonna see it from this video here. Okay. This is the truth. So let's play it.
The economy
All right,
been
there we go.
and is to this moment the most successful popular president in the history of the United States, starting with George Washington. So not only can you tax corporations and the rich, but when we had a president who was forced from below to do it, he became the most popular politician we've ever had. In the period starting in 1970, as the memory of the New Deal, as it was called, faded, Reagan and Thatcher undertook to roll the New Deal back. It had already begun before that, but it really gathered steam. And the mantra was the reverse of the New Deal. Instead of calling the government in to give capitalism a human face, people stumbled over one another, led by the Republicans, but tragically followed by the Democrats, to roll the government back, to get the government out of the economy, to go back to a capitalism which, if I may be allowed to continue the metaphor, lacks a human face, as the songs we just heard today document. And over the last 50 years, the government not only didn't regulate the way it once did, didn't intervene the way it once did, but it blessed the decision of corporate America to go where the profits were the greatest, which is what capitalism normally does. And where were profits the greatest? Answer: China. Starting in the 1970s, we had a mammoth exodus, and not like the one in the Bible. No, this was an exodus of American corporate leaders. They had graduated from business school where they had been taught, parentheses, I have taught in business schools myself, I know the curriculum. They were taught, if you want to succeed in business, go to where the wages are low and the market is expanding. The place where the wages were low and the market was expanding the most was in the land called the People's Republic of China. And American corporations, British and French and German and Italian and Japanese, they all went to China, where they were welcomed, where they were celebrated. And over the last 40 to 50 years, the Chinese economy grew. About half the economy there is capitalist. Private companies working pretty much the way they do here. The other half of the Chinese economy is government-owned and operated enterprises working the way they once did in places like the Soviet Union. China is a hybrid between the US and the Soviet Union. Different from both because it's a mixed situation. And it turns out that under the leadership of the Chinese Mao Zedong and the ones that have come since him, it turns out this hybrid organization can grow faster than any other economic system the world has ever seen. For the last 30 years, China has grown its economy, its GDP, its gross domestic product, between 6 9% per year. During that time, the United States GDP grew between 2 and 3% a year. It doesn't take rocket science to understand that if you can manage that difference, if China can grow 2 to 3 times faster than the United States for 30 years, it can do what it has now done. Namely, it's caught up. Today, the United States has a competitor economically. We haven't had one for a century. World War II eliminated the potential competitors economically of the United States. Britain, France, Italy, Germany, and Japan, all destroyed in and by that war. Russia too. Russia never was an economic competitor. It isn't now either. The GDP of the United States right now is about $25 trillion. The GDP of Russia about now is 3, maybe 4 trillion. No contest. It never was. It's part of why the entire Cold War will have to be revisited so Americans can finally learn what the truth about all of this is. Well, here we are. And what has happened has been that the United States now faces, for the first time in a century, an economic competitor. Big, powerful, highly developed, and able to outcompete the United States across the board, from the lowest to the highest technology, which either side is capable of. And the United States has not yet come to terms with this situation. The American people are engaged in what my psychotherapist wife explains to me is called denial. The pretense, mostly to yourself, that the reality around you isn't there. It's best understood when glimpsing a toddler confronted by a scary barking dog, and the toddler puts his or her hands in front of her eyes, comforted by the thought that if you can't see the dog, it isn't there. But we all know you grow up, and at a certain point, not many years later, you come to understand you can put your hand there, but it doesn't make the dog disappear. China's going nowhere. China is growing. By the way, lest you think any of this is in the past, let me give you right now what the rate of growth of economic output is for 2024, this year. These I'm about to give you are the estimates of the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, which monitors all of this. Economic growth for the United States, 2024, will be 2.8%. Right on target with what it's been on and off for a long time. The economic growth of People's Republic of China this year will be 4.8%, nearly double. And the economic growth of India will be 7%. The next time you hear an American politician or you read in an American newspaper how the American economy is doing better than anyone in the world, please remember the word denial. That kind of statement, which I encounter almost every day, is the exact equivalent of a toddler putting fingers in front of her eyes or nose in hoping that the scary dog will go away. Not only have the Chinese outgrown us, but they have built an alliance with other countries that are recognizing that what was true for the last 75 years, a global economy dominated by the United States as the country that came out of World War II with no bombs that fell on it other than Pearl Harbor, and less damage than any other developed country. The Chinese have built an alliance called the BRICS, B-R-I-C-S. You don't hear as much about it as you ought to. It started a few years ago, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, 5 countries. A year and a half ago, 6 more joined. And 3 weeks ago, 13 more joined. The BRICS together is more than half the population of this planet. The United States is 4.5%, not 50% of this planet. The total output of goods and services in the BRICS is significantly larger already than the total output of the United States and its major allies known as the G7. The United States, Canada, Japan, Britain, France, Germany, and Italy. So now every country in the world, every company in the world is reassessing and redesigning its strategy for the future. And what do I mean? They're redesigning because the dominant player in the world of the last 70 years, the United States, isn't the dominant player anymore. There is a bigger player, richer player in the BRICS, which means if you're going to build a railroad in your country, you don't just go to Washington or London or Paris. You may go to them, but you're going to ask them what offer they can make, and then you're going to compare it to what you can get from Beijing, New Delhi, and Sao Paulo. And in case after case, the choice is made to go with the BRICS, not the West. So what do I mean? I mean to tell you all that if you ask me to tell you what is the biggest reality we now have to face, it's the end of the American empire. What we inherited from the British, because they had the last empire before this one, is now over, and there is zero chance it's coming back. It ought to have been a central issue in the presidential election we just had. Instead, the 2 candidates and their parties worked overtime to practice denial. No such a thing. The war in Ukraine, just to take one of countless examples, will show you how costly this denial is. When the war begins in February of 2022, President Biden told us, along with all of his officials, Russia would be brought to its knees. The Russian currency, the ruble, would collapse. The entire West would side with Ukraine against the Russian invasion and would defeat the Russians. None of that happened. Every part of that prediction proved false. Why? Because the way Russia was to be brought to its knees was by denying the market for Russian oil and gas, whose export the Russians depend on. It's a major industry for them. And they exported all of that energy to Western Europe. When the Western Europeans, under pressure from the United States, closed their markets to Russia, the expectation was that Russia would collapse. Instead, Russia went to its allies in the BRICS, above all China and India, and arranged to sell to them the oil and gas they no longer sold to the Europeans.
Hey, it's Ben Stiller with UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency. One of the most striking things I noticed when visiting refugees.
As a result, Russia is growing faster this year than the United States. And it has grown at a faster rate than the United States throughout the war. You couldn't be more mistaken than this. That's what it means if you deny a reality. All right, let me tell you the next step of this because it drives home the point. What we know about the history of every other empire that also grew, was powerful, and then died was that the ride up as you're growing is a lot more fun and pleasant than the ride down when you're dying. The ride up was the 20th century, which many of you, like me, lived through. We now have to figure out how we descend when our empire is dying. What the United States is doing is typical. Denial has always been there. You can travel to Britain today and encounter no small number of people who still imagine that the British Empire is still there. Witness the inauguration ceremonies for King Charles, who's the king of nobody. What is this? Here's how it works in the United States. People who are rich and powerful are offloading the costs of a declining empire off of themselves. They don't want to suffer, which I understand. But if the economy is going down, which it is, and the people at the top are keeping theirs, which they are, then the rest of us, the middle class, the lower classes, the poor, we're going to be taking it on the chin more and more. And let me give you just a few of the examples. The inflation we just went through. That's a way of lowering the standard of living of large numbers of people, which they felt acutely as they went and paid $6 for a dozen eggs or everything else. They know they're suffering. My guess, no chance for Mr. Trump without that inflation. It gave him the victory. And it cost Kamala Harris the loss. But it's not the only thing. Let me give you other examples which an economist stares at with astonishment. The minimum wage at the federal level in the United States right now is $7.25 per hour. a sum of money on which nobody can live. When was the last time it was raised? 2009. That's 15 years ago. In every one of those 15 years, inflation raised the prices here in the United States of food, clothing, shelter, and everything else. Some years it went up a lot. Some years it went up only a little. But it went up. And what did we do to the people to whom we paid the lowest salary? $7.25. We didn't raise it. Republicans didn't raise it. Democrats didn't raise it. You know what that is? That's cruel and unusual punishment given to people whose crime is that they're poorly paid in the first place. What kind of a country does that? A declining empire whose rich and powerful are busy offloading the costs of that decline onto everybody else. Here's another sign. Our real wages have been stagnant for 30 to 40 years. In other words, if you measure, as we do in economics, the average wage in dollars paid to American workers, and you adjust that to the prices they have to pay when they spend their wages, it's been going up somewhere around 0.5% a year. That's called stagnation. That means your wage isn't going anywhere. By the way, in contrast, the average real wages in the People's Republic of China have quadrupled over the same 30 years. If you want to understand why the government in China is secure, why it is powerful, why economic growth there is celebrated, I just gave you the statistic. Their average wage quadrupled. The average wage in the United States went nowhere. That's not even close, friends. And if you didn't know that, since everything I'm telling you is easily verifiable in 1,000 government statistics, then you understand what I mean by denial. We are therefore experiencing in this country an extraordinary deepening of inequality. At the end of World War II, the United States was less unequal than European countries. Today, we are more unequal than every European country. How did that happen? Well, on the one hand, when corporations went to China and took advantage of low wages and a growing market, it made a fortune for those corporations, and therefore for the top 10% of Americans who own shares. Just a footnote. The top 10% richest Americans own 80% of the stocks and bonds. They did well. The rest of us, we are experiencing a declining empire, which those at the top don't want you to think about. They're managing it quite well. We cannot. That inequality, together with the inflation, gives you Mr. Trump's victory. And the bitterness and divisiveness that is suffusing this economy. And still, nobody willing to face these realities or to speak about them.
Is an index universal life policy right for you? Here are 5 simple questions to find out.
Let me conclude by telling you that
I am. I am. That's why I stay doing these videos. I don't care how much views it gets, because one video can change one person's life. And what's coming down the pipeline? What's coming down the pipeline? People like me who have the balls and who have, let's not use the word balls because that's ancient now. Because we obviously balls don't mean much. People that have the courage, I should say, the courage to speak out, like myself. I've seen other YouTube channels that are like myself who are speaking truth to power. You know what I'm saying? And are warning people. And that's what I would do. To me, there's no point having a channel, no point having a platform if all you want to do is clout chase. A lot of spiritual channels out here, guys, all they do is clout chase. All they want is your money. I'll be honest with you. A lot of people I can easily call out, they don't care about you guys. They don't care about the truth, but I do. Okay? So I will take over an hour of my time where I could be plodding around, going to the movie theater, shopping. I'm here with you guys watching what's important, because this is what is happening right now, and this is what's fixing to happen. Okay? And this gentleman sums it up, who's a professor, an author. He has summarized everything that I'm feeling in a nutshell. So even though this video has been trending on YouTube, not everybody has saw it. Okay, I have linked it in the description box. Okay, so I just have this video up here as reference, as a reference point in general, as you guys know how I do, because I haven't seen this video, so this is my first time watching it with you guys together. I'm watching this just like I'm watching this with you guys for the first time as well. So definitely get your documents together, guys. Seriously, like, this is not a joke, it's not a game. Fuck everybody else out here who is trying to sell you guys a fake dream and sell me a fake dream that everything is kumbaya. No, war is coming, war is here. America is on the decline, and this is what is happening, guys. Okay, and it's important to get prepared, to pay attention to the signals, to the warning signs, to people who have the expertise, the knowledge, who are trying to get the word out here, like myself. Okay, so if my video can help one person get their act together and one person change their life, then I have done the right thing tonight. And that's all I care about, because not everybody knows this. Not everybody's in a household or, you know, is looking up this information. Some people are completely deaf, dumb, and blind, and they have no idea what's going on. They have no idea what's coming. Okay, but I do. So that's why I'm here sharing this with you all, because a lot of people don't know. Okay, a lot of people, they stay ignorant, or they cover their eyes, cover their ears because they're weak. Okay, but those who are smart, those who are intelligent, those who are strong are gonna plan big time. Okay, and there's already a lot of people that are so-called influencers that have left America. I can't even count how many that I follow in my own personal account, who are now living in parts of Asia, who are now going back to different parts in Africa, Asia and Africa predominantly, as well as Europe. I've lost count. And so all the warning signs are there. You know what I'm saying? People that are paying attention, they know this. But a lot of people are not. They're burying their head in the sand. They're following the propaganda. They're following the hot air and hot gas. And they're going to get screwed. You guys are going to continue to get screwed over. Okay? But the ones who see what's coming, and you're planning in advance, like myself, you're planning to get your papers done, you're planning to, apply for this visa, apply for that, digital nomad, whatever you got going on, you're the smart ones. You're the smart ones, because you're going to be having a higher quality of life, while people in America are having a lower and lower and lower and a stronger decline in quality of life. And I'm not going to stay for the shit show. I already told you guys. So you don't have to wonder where I stand. I'm not going to stay for the shit show, okay? If I have to get my paper together and I have to work for another 1 to 2 years just before I can make that huge leap, then so fucking be it. But guess what? I bet you those papers are going to get filed, though. I bet you that passport's going to get updated, though. I can guarantee you that, though. I can guarantee you that. So long term, I'm looking at property in other countries. Forget renting an apartment. Are you kidding me, guys? You got to think bigger than that. There's other countries right now that you could, but you know what? Let me not give free game, because everybody deserves it, okay? But anyway, this guy tells y'all in a nutshell what's happening. Let's continue the video, okay? And I gotta go clean right now, so I'm just gonna play the rest of this video for y'all to see. I'll be back later, okay? Okay.
It's important to understand not only as our past and not even only as our present, as in the election we just had, but also in our future. This denial, this refusal to face the realities of the economy we have and that is shaping our lives, and even more those of our children, promises us frightening near future. I'm only going to give you two examples because I don't want to overstay my welcome with you, but I do want to leave you with useful information to navigate the immediate future. Mr. Trump won the election because he positioned himself with dramatic gestures, the sort favored by Madison Avenue advertisers. And the two gestures were, I am the great protector. Mr. Trump understood far better than the Democrats that people feel attacked, undermined, frightened, scared, worried for themselves and their children, as well they should be. They glimpse fearfully where things are going. They want to be protected from it all. So he put himself forward as the great protector. And his two images were walls, the image of a protector. He's going to put a steel wall at the southern border to protect us against the invasion of the immigrants. And then he's going to put another wall, a tariff wall, to protect us against the evil Chinese. Very powerful images, very successful. But in terms of economics, total incoherent nonsense. Let me explain, and then I will conclude. We have 10 to 12 million undocumented immigrants. That's according to the Department of Homeland Security. We are a population of 330 million Americans. Do the math. 10 to 12 of the poorest people in the country, those immigrants, are not the explanation for the economic difficulties of this rich country of 330 million people. The very idea of that is ridiculous. An undergraduate who wrote such a thing would be called in by their teacher and told, try to think through what you're saying before you say it. The real economic problems, and they are real, of the United States have to do with what I just spent 20 minutes going over with you. They don't depend on more or less immigrants. On the other hand, if Mr. Trump now deports 5 or 10 of these 10 to 12 million immigrants, which he has threatened to do, there will be consequences. Why? Because undocumented immigrants are the most abused of our working class. An undocumented immigrant who asks for his pay on Friday afternoon and is told by his employer, sorry, I don't have the money, has no recourse. He can't go to the police. He's an undocumented immigrant. He doesn't want to get anywhere near any office of the government. He will not complain. He can't. He's like a slave. And that's how they're treated. The construction industry in this country is a major employer. If it doesn't have undocumented employees, it'll have to pay Americans. And you know what? It'll have to pay them a hell of a lot more than they're paying the terrified, undocumented immigrant. And that will mean the cost of construction will zoom up. And you know what that does? It worsens our inflation. Mr. Trump either can't do it for that reason, or he will produce an inflation that will overnight turn him from savior to demon in the eyes of his own followers. Then there's the second wall, the tariff wall. Let me remind everyone what a tariff is. It's just a tax. It's the name given to a particular kind of tax, namely the tax charged to an American importer when that person brings something produced overseas into the United States to be sold. It means Mr. Trump, a Republican who is against taxes, is proposing an enormous tax increase. And while he keeps saying he's hitting the Chinese with a tariff, it's not the Chinese who pay for tariffs. It's Americans. The American importer will pay much more. And that person will then charge more to the consumer, you and me. And you know what that means? An inflation, which he can't have. Yet he proposes these, counting on the American people to be into denial, not to interrogate any of this, to sit there and have debates as if there's something to debate. The debate is a distraction. It's a way of not dealing with your problem because you're too frightened of letting it be debated, lest it go where it might bite you. And we are run by a community of businessmen and women in charge of our corporations, including our mass media, who are not going to do it. Mr. Trump's economic proposals, whatever else you think of them, are economically incoherent. It's great advertising. I'm protecting you with my walls. It's wonderful. But when it comes now to governing, it's impossible and it's a bad joke. And the whole world is watching. And while it's watching this bad joke unfold,
why are you not investing in tax liens? No, seriously. Why are you not investing into one of the most incredible real estate strategies that's the most passive and creates the highest rate of return? Now,
gap between the United States and the G7 on one hand, and the People's Republic of China and the BRICS on the other deepens. The United States' effort to stop, block, undercut China have failed. Been doing it now for 15 years. Started big time under Obama. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And so the question is, what? Do you keep doing it? Let me conclude by reminding all of us of the early history of the United States in which your city, Boston, was such an important player. When the United States' people wanted to become independent of George III, the dominant king of the great British Empire. It ended up in a war, the War of 1774, 5, and 6, our Independence War. And to the surprise of everybody, the British lost. In 1812, they tried again, and they lost again. After that, the British decided, okay, we'll have to work out an arrangement. And the United States arrangement was, you're independent. You can take Latin America. That was the Monroe Doctrine that happened a few years after that. And Britain took the rest. Asia, Africa was theirs. They avoided a war after that for a century. What will the United States do? Continue its denial of what's going on? Threaten, as they have, China with war, despite the fact that China has nuclear weapons and the Russians do too, and they are now allied in good part because of the United States? Or are we going to sit down and work something out? Are we going to tell the American people, honestly, our empire is declining? The next one looks to be Chinese. Or if it isn't Chinese, it's going to be a multinational replacement for the kind of dominance that the Persians or the Dutch or the British or the Americans operated. The world is changing very fundamentally. We are living, as I said a half hour ago, at a time of enormously profound change. And our job as Americans is to stop behaving childishly in this game of thinking that the problems I've barely sketched don't have to be worried about, because we can continue to act as if we were in charge in the way we were in the 1960s and 70s. We aren't. Nothing like that. We are, the war in Ukraine is lost. For those of you who don't keep track, is over, except for signing the documents. Russia won, Ukraine and the West lost. The war in Gaza isolates the United States. Indeed, what historians will say when they look back on this time will be that the United States undertook to isolate and neutralize the dangers after World War II. First in the Soviet Union, then in China, then in the global socialist world, nowadays in what are euphemistically called authoritarian societies. But the end result of the plan to isolate the rest of the world going through these efforts was to isolate the United States itself. We and Israel are standing all alone in that part of the world. And the Europeans, whose world is collapsed, they're economically a basket case. And you know why? What the major reason is that Europe is gone as a player? Because they relied on two things: exporting to China, which the Chinese don't need, and cheap energy from Russia, which they have turned away from. So the energy costs make European production uncompetitive. They have to pay too much for energy, and they can't sell in China the way they once did. They're done. Germany, which used to be the engine of European growth, is now the laggard dragging it down. It really is extraordinary, folks, that what you have thought about and assumed is now over. And it takes courage, but also a sense of realism to say, now we are going to talk honestly about our situation and try to find a livable way forward. The alternative, well, I don't want to spell it out. You can figure it out for yourself. But I hope you will not hold against me that I have told you how this situation really is, rather than comforting you with more denial. But if I have failed, which I understand I may well have, then I have good news for you. If you want to wallow in denial, just turn on the radio and the television, and this evening it will all go away as you get told that the great issues of our time are those carefully excluding everything I have told you. Thank you very much for your attention. I really admire what the community church in Boston stands for, what it always has. I'm proud to have been invited. The list of folks on those cassettes that Dean showed us a few minutes ago puts me in extraordinarily revered company. And with the songs that Rob started us with, I feel very much at home, and I hope this has been of some interest to you.
Absolutely
Richard,
fabulous.
well, folks, thank you so much.
Well, there you have it, guys. There you have it. So, to my fellow Europeans, Africans, Americans, and all the like, those of you guys who want to continue to be deaf, dumb, and blind and want to buy into the fake American dream, good luck to you. But there you have it. There's the data. There is the not just the intuitive confirmation that I've had, but the data to back it up. Russia and China, especially alongside Asia and India and Africa heavily, and other smaller countries even around Africa, are going to be prospering. They are prospering, okay? America has sown a lot of bad seeds, and quite frankly, I'm actually happy that America's going to be sowing back their bad seeds, because they sowed a lot of bad seeds in this world. And quite frankly, other countries are going to stick together under the BRICS. Are going to come together, and they're going to knock out America in every sense of the word. So, even personally, I've had family members I know that are intelligent just like me, who even under the first Trump term were going over to Asia. I have family, which surprised me a couple of years back, but now it doesn't. Now that I've done my research, and my eyes are more open now to what's really happening, and I'm connecting the dots, and I'm seeing what's really happening here. I have some family even that do live in different parts of Asia. And I intend to visit. Because you know what? You got to go where people are prospering. You got to think beyond just America, right? So a lot of people who I have even seen, literally in days, like just recently within days, even those who work for conservative channels and stuff like that, they're quitting and they're going in droves to Africa and Asia. They're quitting their American gig and they're going across country. And you know what? It's going to keep happening. And people that don't realize this, and they want to stay in denial, they can stay in denial all they want. But guess what? Other people have a higher quality of life. And I'm telling you, especially with kicking off with a Project 2025 next year, people that are intelligent are going to take their ass other places. They're going to take their money, their investment properties, you name it, other places. That's the wave. That's going to be the wave. You heard it here first. I was one who predicted to you guys. I didn't even know what Malta is. I had no idea where Malta even was or is. And I made a Year of a Dragon 2023 prediction video in December of last year, going into this year. And I told you guys that celebrities in droves are going to be getting passports, you name it, e-visa, digital nomad. They're going to be going to small islands like I said, Malta. I didn't even know where Malta was. And then I saw a financial report that last week that literally said, places like Malta have seen a surge and rich residents and people from abroad coming from America to go live there. So people are waking up that what, this way of living in America is a corporation. America is not a country, it's a corporation. And when you wake up and smell a coffee, you're gonna unplug. You're gonna unplug from all the lies that these people have told us and all the American symbolism that they've sold us, and you're gonna disconnect. You're gonna unplug, guys, and you're gonna realize that what, there's other places, other countries where you have a way higher, better quality of life. I remember when the pandemic came and a lot of American women were buying property in Italy. I don't know if anybody else, I remember that, and it's actually still happening. If you go on TikTok, you'll still see it. A lot of women are still buying property in Italy because a lot of places in Italy have basically been vacant. And so there's a lot of real estate, I'm saying, in places like Italy even. And people are, retiring over there or they're working over there. So listen, there's opportunity abound, okay? In a season of darkness, guys, what's intelligent, what's wisdom is to look for the silver lining, to look for the opportunity. So my horizon was once, going to a blue state, yada, yada, yada. Now my horizon is getting out of the country, right? Having a vacation or a second property, or maybe even a main property in a different country where there's no property tax. Thinking bigger than just, okay, a 2x4 or, the white picket fence. That's gone. That's whitewash, guys. This whitewash is gone. It's ancient. It's old. It's tired. It doesn't represent what people actually want in their lives, And yes, I just said it's true. I mean, it's true. It's a whitewashed version of a cushy life that they've put in these movies and they've put in the media and they've sold to millions of Americans. And then they finally realize and wake up and smell the coffee and realize that, they're getting played. They have property tax. They have high home insurance bills. Everything they sold, them was a packaged facade. It was a lie. It was a lie. And so the so-called Americans, right, or the citizens who are intelligent, they've begun to travel. They've begun to look out and say, maybe this is a better deal. Maybe this is a better idea. So if you watched, I congratulate you for having a brain. I'm just going to put it straight like that. Anybody who watches video, you have a brain, especially if you watch the entire video, you definitely are intelligent because you're ahead of the curve, okay? A lot of Americans can't even conceive of life anywhere else but America. And that's why they're getting scammed and they're getting gooped and their quality of life is piss poor. No matter how much money they make, they can't seem to get ahead because why? It's rigged, bruh. It's a system that doesn't work. It's an old-fashioned whitewash system that doesn't work for the majority of Americans. And most Americans who are real will tell you that. The ones who want to keep buying into this fake patriotic sub-Sahara bullshit, okay, they're going to stay here and rot. But everybody else who's thinking beyond, they're going to get their shit together like myself. They're going to continue to keep getting their shit together, and they're going to bounce. They're going to find other places. Maybe they go back to their home country, take their American money back to their home country, and build a house. No property tax, right? Living large, living good, okay? Because as long as you're in America, that ain't gonna happen. You got these fake ass credit scores. You got these high ass property tax bills. It's bullshit, guys. I'm not even 30, and I'm like, this shit is bullshit. I see right through it. It's garbage. It's complete lunacy. It's garbage. Okay, it's a pipe dream. It's a fake pipe dream. Okay, you don't have to be ethnic to know that. Okay, even Caucasian Americans can see that, and they've left in droves as well. Just look on YouTube. They have literally videos of it. Living in a van or selling all their stuff and going to live abroad, traveling the world. Look it up yourself. Don't take it from me. And this has just happened of last year, of just in 2023. I've seen a sharp uptick of this. And especially influencers, especially people who also make money online, just look into it. A lot of them don't live in America. Look at their background. Look at their scenery. There's at least 6 YouTubers I can count off the top of my head, at least 6, who make like a lot of money off YouTube. You look through their playlists, you look through their videos. They don't live in America anymore. Okay, they've left the ranch, they left the plantation, guys. They're free, they're gone. Okay, it's the rest of the suckers out here who haven't caught on. But guess what? I've caught on. So now my horizon is just bigger than just America, right? I'm thinking way bigger than just America, because America is not what it's all cracked to be. America is not the hot thing no more. Okay, it ain't. And it's not going to be. Trump is not going to change the tide, guys. BRICS has already been in play for at least 3-4 years now. It's not going to tremendously change under anybody right now. It would have been, at least socially, under Kamala, it would have been a lot better. But guess what? We didn't get that. Okay? That fantasy is gone. So just take a look around. Just take a look around. A lot of people who've made a lot of money, they're leaving. They're taking their American money and they're bouncing. Okay, they're already gone. Okay, the celebrities, you see how the celebrities have left? That's just a pin drop compared to the civilization. Okay, so think bigger. It's time for people to think bigger beyond America, because America is not the head honcho no more, guys. That America is not the head honcho. It's not, and it's not going to be, especially next year, the following year. Trust me. Actually, don't trust me. You see it for yourself, actually, because fuck that. You'll see for yourself. Okay, don't put it on me. You're gonna see it you're gonna live it. Okay, if you're living in America like me, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see it. So yeah, I'm thinking beyond, guys. I can't even. I've lost count. I have lost count of so many people that you would think, would talk about moving to this place in America, that place in America. No, they're going to different countries. I was at the gym the other day, and one of my friends, out of the blue, was talking about, oh, he's going to Australia. These conversations were not the norm. You know what I'm saying? Like, until Trump's first term. I didn't see these kind of conversations. And all of a sudden, everybody's waking up and they're like, wait, I have a better quality of life in Australia. I have a better quality of life in Asia. I have a better quality of life in Africa. I have a better quality of life in parts of South America, in different islands, in Europe, especially. They're getting the hell out of here. So I don't want to be under dictatorship. I already made that very clear, and that's what I'm going to call it, a dictatorship. I don't want to live under that. So it's up to me to get my shit together, get organized. I already have my passport stuff over there in my drawer. I'm fixing to call the embassy, get my birth certificate, get all the type of shit, man. Because listen, the opportunity is going to be abound abroad. Are you hearing what I'm saying? We're in the age of Aquarius, Pluto and Aquarius. Distant seas, honey. Distant seas. All right. I think I get the message, but that's just what I wanted to share with you all tonight. It's a very important mark of, the time we're living in. And especially now with Pluto and Aquarius, age of Aquarius, shit's popping off, guys. Shit's about to really pop off. And people that are intelligent, they're going to peep the signs. They're going to make, long-term moves. They're going to get their papers together. And guess what? When shit pops off, they got somewhere to go. The rest of the people, they don't have their shit together. They ain't got nowhere to go. They're going to have to stay here and get shit wage, shit treatment. The same old. No improvement. Okay? But other people who don't give a damn and like, fuck all that. I want a better quality of life. They're going to be the smart ones to leave. I'm telling you right now, they're already doing it. Look at how many celebrities already left. They're like, fuck this shit. I got somewhere else I can go. Real shit. So if you're born American, look into your digital nomad, e-visa, look into your options. Okay, you got friends abroad, you got family scattered, you got family in the Caribbean, family in Asia, family in Europe. Look into your options. Look into it, because there's opportunities that are not just American bound, American based. And you know what? It's going to grow your maturity. It's going to grow your skill set. You're going to have more connections. You're going to maybe learn a different language, a second, third, fourth language. Some of you guys watch me already speak 2 languages. Imagine if you speak 4 languages. Imagine how marketable, imagine how amazing you would be to any country, to any place you go, an asset if you learn more than 1 language besides just Spanish and English. I'm talking about something that's actually interesting. Okay, you know what I'm saying, like French or Guyanese or Japanese or whatever. Okay, not just a typical Spanish and English. Everybody can learn Spanish and English. I'm talking about things that make you international. Okay, and you can go anywhere. And so that's an advantage. So let's say for example, you were studying abroad, or you're living abroad somewhere, and you picked up a third, fourth, fifth language. You're going to be way better than the average American because you have more skills, you have more to offer, you have more experience. You know, I have some friends who did college in Europe, you know, when they were in college. I mean, these are very common things, but it's not as common as it should be. You see what I'm saying? So now is the time to think beyond just America, because America is not what it's cracked to be. It's not what people want it to be, especially since Kamala didn't get in. Hell no, it's not. Hell no, it's not. So think about it. Think about learning a different language. Okay, we can be marketable. Think about it. Just get the wheels, because we're in the age of Aquarius. Now that Pluto's in Aquarius, shit's about to get rocked. Okay, and you gotta be one step ahead, y'all. All right. So I love you. Subscribe, thumbs up, share, repost. I will catch you on the next video. Bye.